Okay, in the last video, we created our first migration and run it. So now our database has a post table. Let's add some data in there and then get the data out. So over in my database browser, which is dbeaver, you can use any that you want. I'm going to create a few columns here. So I'm just going to give this a title of my first post. I'm just going to say second post of third post. I'm just going to save on this. And now we have our first 3 posts in our database. So the next thing we want to do is grab those values out of the database. So over in our post controller, we're going to grab that data. So there's 2 main ways you can do this in Laravel, and that is through the query builder and through Laravel's ORM Eloquent. Now, any kind of ORM is quite complex to get your head round at first, and Eloquent is no different, but it's extremely powerful. But because this is just an introductory course, I'm just going to introduce you to the query builder and how we can use the query builder to get those results. So in here, I'm just going to get rid of this posts array, and I'm going to set the posts equal to, and we're going to call the DB facade, and we're going to say table. What table do we want to use? We want to use our posts table, and then this will bring us back an instance of the query builder. So the final thing we need to do then is call get. So now this builds a query on the table of posts, and it gets all the posts. So let's just do a die and dump on this. Now, die and dump is a way to output data inside of your PHP application. So it's simply a DD, and then you pass in what you want to die and dump. So I'm going to die and dump on posts. Now, something to note here, because I'm using PHP Storm and I've used the DB facade here, this will automatically pull that namespace into my post controller. Now, if your editor doesn't do this, you'll need to manually type that in. So at the top of the file, you can see here, I've got a use illuminate support facades DB. Now, as I said, PHP Storm pulled that in when I wrote that here automatically. Your editor might not do that, so you'll need to manually type that out at the top of your file. Okay, let's carry on anyway. Let's have a look at the die and dump of posts. So over in our application, let's just refresh on our post route. You can see here, this gives us an output of an Illuminate support collection. And inside of there's items. Let's open this up. And we've got 3 items. Let's open up the first one. And you can see there we have the title, my first post. The second one, second post. And the third one, third post. So these are the values coming from the database. So now we can just pass them down to the view like we did when we hand constructed the array. So back over in our post controller. Now out of the box, this won't work. So remember how when we manually constructed our data, we just created a basic array. Now what we get back from here is a collection of classes. So let me just show you that again. Let's just die and dump quickly on the posts again and check this out in the browser. You can see here, this is bringing us back what we call a collection. Now, I'm not going to go into collections too much in this course, but you just need to know this is a Laravel object, and the collection gives you loads of different methods that you can call on the collection. So they are really powerful, and I will be creating a dedicated course on collections, so make sure you subscribe to get the notification of when that's out. But under the items here, these are objects rather than arrays. So in here we have all of our data, and these are in an object. So we need to change our blade file to use the object instead of the array value. So let's jump over to our blade file, and that is our post.blade.php, which is in the resources views folder. And then in here, we're looping over this collection of posts as post. So now this is a class, and we need to access the properties on the class just like we would any other PHP class. So we can now say post title, and that's referencing the column name in the database. Now let's just save on this and jump over back to our browser. And as you can see here, when we're calling post title, we're referencing the title column inside of this class. So let's just get rid of this die and dump now. So over in our post controller, let's just remove that and then just save on this. So we're still passing our posts down as normal. In our blade file, we're looping over those posts and we're accessing that title key. Let's just refresh on this page. And you can see now we get our data back from our database. So we're getting our post collection, we're looping over that collection, and then for each of those post classes, we're getting the title key, and we're outputting it here on our page. So in the next video, let's look at how we can add a new post into our database.